Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Sunday night live stream for studentloanjustice.org. It is June 12th, getting on close towards the longest day of the year. That is crazy. Where did the year go? Hey, I hope everybody's doing well out there. Tonight I want to talk about the last week and this week. So first of all, if you're new to the group, welcome. We are the oldest and largest first and in many ways only truly grassroots group fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. So for the first 15 years of our existence, that meant very moderately pushing for the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. And we've got a great bill out right now as we speak. Best bill we've ever had. It's closest to being passed. So I'm thrilled. If you forget everything I say tonight, remember S2598. But folks, I'm here to tell you the lending system is failed with a capital F. Failed. It's done. It's finished. It's toast. The pandemic was the nail in the coffin of this sucker. And really the best thing for all involved at this point in the death spiral of the federal student loan program is to cancel the loans. So we were interviewed by Vice News about this topic, and it turns out the president can cancel nearly all student debt, like 87% of all student loans. These are all the federally owned student loans by executive order. So in March 2020, we started a petition, change.org/cancel student loans, calling on then President Trump to cancel student loans by executive order. We are thrilled that the petition has done really well. We've got over 1.15, million signatures on the petition now. And right when the petition really started rocking, Chuck Schumer and Elizabeth Warren embraced the concept in September 2020 and joined us in calling on the president to cancel loans by executive order. So if you haven't noticed, that's now at the top of the news. So we're thrilled that's true, but we're also very wary, ladies and gentlemen, because while we're glad Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer embraced the concept and promoted the concept of canceling student loans by executive order, they put weasel words into it. They put up to $50,000 into it. And the current version of loan cancellation that we're hearing about from the White House, excuse that burp, is up to $10,000 loan cancellation, which is meaningless, which is ridiculous. In fact, it's a cruel joke. And ladies and gentlemen, we've been doing this for 17 years now, and I can tell you the thing that the bad guys, and there are a lot of bad guys out there, the thing the bad guys really would like to do is a fake student loan cancellation, like up to $10,000, up to $50,000, and keep the constitutional right of bankruptcy gone from the loans. They've done that already. It's a well-worn trick played on us by the student loan swamp. They did that in 2007. They kind of did that right after around 2012, 2013. They are trying to do that again, and we cannot let them be fooled. So those two things we're fighting for, bankruptcy with S2598 and the cancellation of all student loans, we've got to get the first thing still remains the most important thing, bankruptcy. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. Few people should have to file when we get the right return. We've got to get the threat of bankruptcy back on our side in order to compel the president to cancel any sort of meaningful type of student loans. So let me say that a little better. We will only see Biden cancel student loans meaningfully, significantly, not this up to $10,000 nonsense, this up to $50,000 nonsense. Up to could mean anything. That's the key thing that you need to know. Those are weasel words. But unless and until we get the threat, the leverage of bankruptcy back on our side, Joe Biden is not going to do anything meaningful. When we get the threat of bankruptcy back on our side, Joe Biden is pretty much going to have to cancel loans broadly, deeply, widely. So just remember that. That's very important. By the way, if you have any questions or comments, throw them up if you're watching us on Twitter or Facebook. And if I can see them on Twitter, I will very gladly respond to them. One thing before we begin. We're in the justice business. We're not in the merchandising business. So very rarely do we do like merchandising type things. But we're doing something very special right now. We're selling. Actually, Lisa in Los Angeles has set up a shop. It's like a fundraising thing, and she designed, and we are selling these distressed collector's items, SLJ hats. They're like literally worn and torn and tattered, like by design. That's how they come out of the box. They're very cool hats, I think. The one we're selling is it's called the Mississippi Mud Hat. It's just a cap, but it's kind of this light brown camo beige thing. As I said, it's tattered and torn, but I think they're cool, and they will help us quite a bit on fundraising. We will get like $12 for every hat that's sold. So get a hat. It'll be neat. You'll be glad that you did it. And if you appreciate what we are doing here, you will get one anyways, just to support the cause. But maybe I'll show you a screenshot here if I can. Let me just do a share screeny thingy here. Okay. Here it is. It's coming. It's coming. Trust me. And by the way, you can go to bit.ly/coolslj-hat to get this hat, and you can see this for yourself. But here it comes. Okay, no, you just saw it. There it is right here. See how it's all tattered and torn? I'm not sure if you can see my mouse or not. But it's cool, and get one. We rarely do swag, guys, and who knows? This is a very historic battle that we're involved in, and maybe years and decades from now, they'll be worth something, because that's how important this battle is. And actually, that's true. This thing that we're fighting, guys, is the tip of the spear in a very nasty, nasty battle. I would maybe even call it a class war battle. Student loans are the tip of the spear of a very bad thing, guys, because think about it. Student loans are the only type of loan to be uniquely stripped of bankruptcy protections, of statutes of limitations, and of many other consumer protections. But bankruptcy is the main thing. And think about it's the camel's nose under the tent, guys, because if they can do to other loans what they did to student loans, they will turn this country into a slave state, a servile, facile state. And they would like to do that. I'm already hearing murmurs about taking bankruptcy away from medical debt. So this is this is a very important line in the front line of the battle to keep our country literally free. And I kid you not on that. So not to put too fine a point on it, but what we're doing is historic, guys. And regardless, I hope you'll support our mission. So get a hat, get a distressed hat. That would be cool. And thanks again to Lisa for helping us out with this. All right, guys. So tonight we're going to talk about last week and this week. Last week, we had a good week. Our people were featured, I believe, in the New York Times, or was that the week before? I think it was like last weekend or something. Let's say this. The last 2 weeks, we were featured in the New York Times, at the Guardian. Michael Chaney had got his photo in the New York Times. Many others got their stuff in the Guardian. I think Vanjie. But certainly many people, many of our members featured in the Guardian. We did a bunch of interviews, among them a really good live interview on the Rick Smith show on, was it Thursday or Friday? We've got a lot of other media stuff in the hopper, ladies and gentlemen. The media, I hate the media, but the media should be helping us. And every once in a while, the media does help us. Like 18 out of 20 times, the media is against us because it's swamp media and they suck. But sometimes we get good media done. And by the way, we've been featured on Top Story on 60 Minutes. A couple of months ago, we were featured live on Fox News, which we would love to do again at some point. We've broken news with our research in the Wall Street Journal and Inside Higher Ed, at the Washington Post, at many other places. So we're super good with the media. That's kind of what we do. Like, that's a big part of what we do, is breaking research in the media. Like, for example, did you know older people outnumber younger people with student loans? It's true. The media has not broken that headline yet. They need to. We broke that headline. If you go to our studentloanjustice.medium.com, which I think you may be looking at right now. Oh, no. Here, let me bring it up for you. Oh, by the way, there's our hats. There's our cool hats. bit.ly/cool SLJ hat. Go there. But if you go to our studentloanjustice.medium thing, you will see all the most current or fairly current Department of Education data, which proves that older people indeed outnumber younger people with student loans. It was true in December 2020 when we broke the story. It is more true today. That's kind of the trend. Very important story, never been broken, needs to be broken. Perhaps you also didn't know that before the pandemic, more than half of all borrowers were not making payments on their loans. That's true. That's never been reported. We broke that story. Nobody else has ever broken that story. Another interesting little snippet that we haven't seen in the media yet. Most student loan borrowers are Republican or independent. I kid you not. Compared to Democrats, Republican and independents, those two little groups outnumber Democrats. So there are actually a few more Democrats than Republicans, but the little slice of the independent pie makes what I just said true. The majority of student loan borrowers are either Republican or independent. I could go on. I probably have like 3 or 4 more unbroken research stories that we have dutifully and thoroughly and carefully researched and investigated, is provable by typically not anything more than Department of Education data and current Department of Education data. So we've got a lot of work to do. Clearly, guys, we've got a lot of truth that we need to spread. But last couple of weeks, we seem to have been doing pretty well. So hopefully that will continue. Also, in the last couple of weeks, we were able to get a question into Undersecretary James Cavall, who did something with the Washington Post, where we asked him point blank about when they are going to stop opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court. And he didn't give a great answer, but he did answer the question, which is important. In fact, I'm very glad that we got the first question in the whole series of questions on the docket. And he confirmed that they are working on something quite actively right now, and they were going to be doing something on that soon. So from James Cavall's lips to your ears. So that's what was an important thing there that we did. And I hope you're pleased. Now, next week, well, the future is not written. The current lay of the land, and again, if you have any questions and comments, throw them out. I'm being lazy. I'm not even looking for them right now, so I apologize for that. But I am bringing them up right now, so I will see them in just a moment. I see we have quite a few people with us here tonight on this late Sunday evening live stream. But here's the deal right now, guys. First of all, the Forbes people have no clue. Remember, like 10 days ago, Forbes was like, we're pretty sure Biden's going to do a loan cancellation this weekend. We're pretty sure. That's what Forbes said. The Forbes people are idiots. They're swamp creatures. They're fools. They're clickbait pirates. They make their living on the student loan scam, and the last thing they want is to see these loans actually canceled. And they mislead people all the time. And lo and behold, that's again what they did. I mean, we didn't get no loan cancellation from Biden. The last little rumor I heard was they may put it off till after the summer. So we do not know. Hey, Vanjie says, I ordered a hat. Nice trucker hat. Well, thank you, Vanjie. Get a trucker, get a hat, guys. This is cool swag here. It's history we're making. bit.ly/cool SLJ hat. Hey, Terry Dobbs with us tonight. Hey, Terry, how you doing? Terry Dobbs says, good evening, everyone, and awesome job on the interview Friday night. That was Friday night, wasn't it, Terry? That's right. So if you go to the Rick Smith Show, maybe Google it or something, you can see our interview. It's at the 1 hour mark, so right at the middle mark of his Friday evening show. I think we kicked ass, if I may say so myself. I think we did better. I am more happy when I go on very conservative shows and we get assholes like Dana Perino asking, not that she's not an asshole, but when we get asshole questions from hater type positions like Fox News. And this whole problem has been politicized, guys. It's D's versus R's. The D's are the good guys. The R's are the bad guys. It's completely fake media concocted nonsense. This is not a partisan issue. We are not a partisan group, but we love to go into the opposition's camp, right where they live, right when they're eating their beans and bacon at night. And we like to sit with them. That is where the battle is won. So we're glad. And Rick Smith is a kind of a union / blue / left leaning thing. But no, we're glad, very happy to talk to Rick. It went great. We are way more happy to go in the lion's den and actually crack some skulls, as they say. I truly believe, guys, we are a fighting working group, and we love going in the lion's den. That truly is where this problem is going to be solved. And so I'm glad a couple of you people saw that and that you liked it. And anything that you can do to get us on more shows, you'd be surprised. Sometimes it only takes one person to go, hey, you should really interview this group. Student Loan Justice, they got this petition, over 1 million people, cancel student loans, bankruptcy for student loans. When you do that, there's a pretty good chance that they'll actually interview us. So I don't know how the Rick Smith thing show came about. It may very well be that one of our members contacted them. I don't know. But by all means, do everything that you can to make that happen, because that really is where this battle will be solved. We didn't get no loan cancellation for Biden. Oops. Well, we were lagging big time on the live stream. Well, and again, so thank you, Vanjie, for ordering a hat. Get a hat. And I'm looking for your other comments now. And if you're watching us on Twitter, I usually flake on the Twitter comments, so I'm sorry about that in advance. Oh, yep, we do have a Twitter comment. Twitter comment is good evening from Joanna Curry. Hey, Joanna in Florida. Oh, that's another bit of news from the past couple weeks. In fact, about, I want to say a week or no, just a few days ago on Wednesday, I think, our article that we published at the Tallahassee Democrat got republished, and it got picked up again by Yahoo News. And it got republished in the Gainesville Sun. Speaking of Florida, so you know, Florida sucks on the student loan program, on the student loan problem, I should say. State budget of Florida is $80 billion. The people of Florida owe $120 billion in mostly federal student loan debt. Like 87% of that is federal student loan debt. So everybody in Florida needs to know, particularly Ron DeSantis needs to know, that there's enough student loan debt in the state of Florida to buy Disney World 60 times over. Assessed value of Disney World is $2 billion. At least on paper, you can buy Disney World 60 times over with the student loan debt in that state. Ron DeSantis should be on our side, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, in my humble opinion, every governor in every state of the union should be on our side. But there are some particular states that should really be on our side. Florida being pretty much chief among them. Florida, Georgia, Texas, North and South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Tennessee, Virginia. Do you notice a sort of pattern about all those states? Alabama, about all those states that I just mentioned? Louisiana. Are those all not southern states? I believe they are. Well, if you look at the bottom 10 states in the country for average student loan debt per borrower versus average wage in the state, the worst 10 or probably 12 states, they're all southern red states. They're all those states I said. So the governors of those states in particular should not be jumping on this stupid, senseless, partisan nonsense bandwagon where Republicans are against loan cancellation and Democrats say they're for loan cancellation, but maybe just up to $50,000 loan cancellation. It's a joke, guys. It is a manufactured media food fight that we find ourselves caught in the middle of, ladies and gentlemen. I really didn't want this to happen. This is not a partisan problem, as I've said. We are not a partisan group, by the way. We say terrible things about Republicans and Democrats alike. We don't really care what letter they have on their sleeve. But anyways, I'm glad we got that republished. Anything that you can do to get through to any one of those governors. It's not just those, though. It's over a third of U.S. states where student loan debt exceeds the entire state budget. So this coming week, guys, I'm always expecting some big news to break on our bill, S-2598. I'm hoping for it. I'm not necessarily expecting it this week. I am not expecting anything meaningful from Biden this week, guys. I'm just not. I just don't see it happening. I think the Democratic Party is in massive disarray right now. I think the people in charge of the student loan thing have no idea what they want or what they will do. They have a couple of things they've said they're going to do. Knock, knock, hint, hint, James Caval, stopping opposing student loan borrowers in bankruptcy. But guys, I think they're going to kick this can down the road as long as they possibly can because they have no good options. The lending system, as I said at the top of this broadcast, is toast. It's failed. It's not going to come back. Hey, our Eugenio Perez says, why should the governor care about its citizens' debt problems? Oh, Eugenio, that's a great question. There are a million reasons why particularly Republican governors should care very much about the student loan debt in their state. It's true. Most student loan debt is federal debt. So at least on paper, governors don't have any jurisdiction over the matter. That is true, but they should be very concerned. Let's look at Florida, since we're talking about Florida. $120 billion in mostly federal student loan debt hanging around the necks of the people of Florida. Interest on that alone is like $7.2 billion a year. And by the way, $120 billion is 50% higher than the entire state budget, which in itself should shock any governor or state legislator. That is cartoonishly obscene territory there. I mean, that's just outrageous and crazy. But interest alone, what did I say? $7.2 billion in interest not being spent in the state of Florida. This debt is terrible for a state's economy. And think about it this way, too. What would happen to the state of Florida if we somehow wrangled $120 billion out of the people of Florida and sent that money mostly to Washington, D.C.? You know, there's some pretty shithole towns in Florida right now. I'm thinking of like Pensacola. No offense if you're from Pensacola. But there's a lot of sprawly, gross kind of strip mall type towns in Florida now. Can you imagine if we took $120 billion out of the pockets of the people in Florida and sent that money to Washington, D.C.? It would wreck the state of Florida. And I mean wreck. Same with Texas, $141 billion. Georgia, $82 billion. North Carolina, $58 billion. That exceeds the state. Maryland is terrible. I don't remember the numbers exactly. Every governor, particularly governors in those states where student loan debt exceeds their entire state budgets, they should be very, 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 very concerned. In fact, if Ron DeSantis wasn't an idiot, which he up to this point has proven to be, he would stand up. Maybe he'd do it along with some of the other terrible states like Brian Kemp of Georgia, Greg Abbott of Texas, Bill Lee of Tennessee, Kay Ivey of Alabama, Chris Sununu of New Hampshire, Kristi Neem of South Dakota, all these states that are just terrible. he would stand up with them, and they would maybe as a group say, Mr. President, enough. We are not going to let our states be servile, vassal, contributory states, essentially pawns to the federal student loan program. We're not going to be conquered and enslaved under debt to the federal government. We're not going to do it. Mr. President, cancel these loans. You can do it right now for free. You can do it without needing one dime from the Treasury, without adding one penny to the national debt. You're wrecking our people. Don't do it, Mr. President. Cancel the loans. If we could get even one Republican governor, but even better would be a group of 3 or more, that would be game over. We win. And it should happen. It truly should. And I'm saying Republican, but even if any bipartisan group of governors were to do that, and they should, this is really a state sovereignty issue at this point. And I'm being very serious about that, guys. That's like I'm not being dramatic. Anytime your state, the people of your state owe more than your entire state budget to some other foreign entity, in this case, the federal government, that becomes a states' rights issue. That becomes a state sovereignty issue. So think about that. Eugenio says, but those SL monies go into that state college. Yeah, sure, but not $120 billion. That's an outrageous number. And by the way, Eugenio, those colleges tend to accrue that wealth. Sure, they employ some people, but those colleges, including the state schools, they have been stockpiling that wealth that flows into them by and large, including the state schools. So I don't care, dude. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. Anytime your citizens have a debt obligation of that size of money, and by the way, Eugenio, only a fraction of that money actually went to the colleges. That $1.6 trillion in outstanding federal student loan debt, a very small fraction of that is actual unpaid principal. So a very small fraction of that hyperinflated 1.6 or 7 or 8 trillion dollars, only a small fraction of that ever actually went to the colleges in the first place. So that's again, we're fine with supporting colleges. I think the colleges have been very greedy, and they need to be held accountable, and they've done some terrible things. But we're on this group. We're obviously not opposed to getting higher education. Michael Jacobs says you said shithole. Lol. I did say shithole. Pardon my French, Michael. But there are some pretty crap states or cities in the state of Florida. I've driven all over the country, guys. There's some crappy little towns in Texas too. There's kind of crappy little towns everywhere you go. But there is a surprising abundance of crappy little urban sprawly towns all over the Florida panhandle and even the main part of Florida. So nothing against Florida, by the way. I actually love Florida. So yeah, guys. So this coming week, I'm not expecting any super big news, but next week is what we make it. The most important thing I will say to you tonight is that this is not a watch it happen group. This is not here. We are not here for your entertainment. You're not better than us. We are a working, fighting group, and we are nothing without the people on our group getting their hands dirty. Terry Dodge, she's doing the hard work. I know she is. I see her out there everywhere. Michael's taken videos of homeless people in Philadelphia for whom student loan debt is a contributor to their current plight. Vanjie, I see everywhere. Eugenio, I've seen you make comments all the time, very involved. This is what it's all about, guys. Sitting back, treating this as entertainment is not going to get it done. If you're sitting there waiting and watching and worrying and eating popcorn, thinking that somebody else is going to pull your weight for you, That will never, ever, ever, ever happen. We've been here for 17 years. I know these things. You've got to get off your ass. Maybe other groups on the internet go, no, you don't have to do anything. Just donate something. Just kick back and watch. And we're going to solve this problem. Watch us do little photo ops with Elizabeth Warren and stupid things. No, those people, don't listen to those groups, guys. There's some bad groups out there. Student debt crisis comes to mind. That's bullshit. This is your battle. This is your war. These are your loans. This is your problem. Nothing good has ever happened that didn't start and usually finish with the people. Hopefully not in an armed revolution, but that sometimes happens too. But this is a very important battle, ladies and gentlemen, and you are an unwitting, accidental activist in this fight, whether you want to be or not, and you cannot unhear that. And we will get nowhere without your help. So if you forget everything I said tonight, remember at least this. Go to our website, studentloanjustice.org, and do our daily actions. And let me just put that up for you. Go to our website, studentloanjustice.org. We do daily actions every day. It's mostly Twitter stuff. Get a Twitter account. You don't do Twitter? Get a Twitter account. Do Twitter for this. It's worth it. I don't like Twitter. Nobody likes Twitter. Twitter works. Get a Twitter account if you want to help. But go to our website, studentloanjustice.org, and do our daily actions every day, number one. But if you're new to the group, do a week or a month's worth of our daily actions. It's fun, believe it or not. It probably takes 30 seconds to do 1 day's worth of daily actions. I would also say do our special action. And again, go to the website, main page of the website, you'll see special action. Click on that, do the special action. It's kind of a surprise. I'm not even going to tell you what it is, but it's kind of fun. It's like a box of chocolates, as they say. That helps. We've got a huge muscle to flex, ladies and gentlemen. We've got 1.3 million people across all of our various platforms. If even 10% of our members were doing our daily actions, we would shut down the Twitter accounts. We would blow up the Twitter accounts like they've never been blown up before, of every politician, celebrity, influencer, you name it. We would be blowing the F out of Twitter accounts. If only 10%, 10 freaking percent, it's 130,000 people a day. We would blow up the phone banks, not literally, but we would overwhelm the phone banks of every sitting elected politician, senators, congressmen, governors like Ron DeSantis. We would be a massive fighting force if only 10%, 1 out of 10 people were doing our daily actions. Right now, today, it's way less than that. It's not even 1%, not even close to 1%. And that is not going to get it done, ladies and gentlemen. You know, the bad guys are opposition, and they are out there. There's not many of them, but they are out there, and they are well-resourced. And they have a lot of power, particularly in the press. They would love nothing more than for you to be sitting there, waiting, watching, worrying, reading Forbes magazine and other garbage media, which is 90% of all media, and doing nothing. That's what our opposition wants. Don't give them the pleasure. This is a battle. This is your battle. This is a real fight going on, whether you choose to fight it or not. It's your fight, and you are losing if you're not helping us. And like I said, everybody who I see here on the group tonight, they are doing the work. It's not even hard work. It's just kind of a daily grind, daily consistent thing. Step up and do your fucking part. Pardon my French. And if you're not going to put any effort, we have a woman, Martha, in New Jersey. She has ALS. She's confined to a wheelchair. She cannot speak. She cannot walk. But she does our daily actions. And she's like 70, she's 65 years old, guys. So if Martha can do it, you have no excuses. And if you're not going to help, then get the F off of our group. Seriously, we don't want you here. To everybody else, to Michael and Vanjie and Terry and everybody who, certainly Joanna for sure. Joanna's a freaking trooper. To Deneen, to everybody who is doing the work, I salute you. We are the pioneers and we are kicking ass. And can you believe how far we've gotten in just the past 2 years from when we were schlepping around Iowa with nothing? And now here we are right on the brink of not only getting bankruptcy back, but even getting the freaking loans canceled. And I mean totally canceled, guys. But that all starts with bankruptcy, and it all starts with you sitting there. I can see you. Don't think this is, you can run and hide. This is not, as I said, you're not better than us. We're not here for your entertainment. We need you helping. So go to our website and do our daily action. And with that, guys, I think, we've got a few more comments. I'm going to knock out these comments and call it a night, guys. It's kind of a late live stream. I'm going to keep it a little close. Michael Jacobs says, why should we be expected to be calm about their needs to not react? While they take their time, people go, you deaf and die. I think what you mean is that we should be pissed, and we should be pissed, Michael. We've waited too damn long already, and we don't have to take this shit, guys. This is the most unconstitutionally, unjust, catastrophically failed, viciously predatory lending scam in the history of our country. In my humble opinion, nobody should ever pay another fucking dime back on their federal student loans. In my humble opinion, that is not only unwise, I think it's unpatriotic. And you can quote me on that. This lending system needs to be taken to the bath and drowned in the tub. If Joe Biden had 1 ounce of decency in him, he would stand up tomorrow, have a press conference, and say, ladies and gentlemen, I can't do this anymore. I've got to come clean. This whole student loan thing blew up in my face. I thought I was pretty clever when I took bankruptcy back away from student loans as a junior senator. And I played games over my career. What every politician does at some point. There's certain compromises that you make. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. This lending system is a disaster. And I, Joe Biden, apologize to you for what it has done to your health, welfare, your family, your future. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm canceling all the loans that I possibly can today by executive order. I'm also telling my staff to stop opposing all federal student loan borrowers in bankruptcy court. I'm also urging Congress in the strongest of terms to return bankruptcy protections to all student loans. I am suspending the current loan program for an indeterminate length of time, hopefully no more than a year or so. And I am tasking my Department of Education with devising, designing, and implementing a new higher education funding model. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, and that's what we're doing. And please support us going forward, because it takes a lot for me to just say what I just said. So please do that. If Joe Biden was to do that, that's pretty much the only thing that I can imagine would give the Democrats any chance at holding power in November, give Biden any chance at a second term in 2024. It's called honesty. It's not fucking rocket science. Pardon my French. It's not effing rocket science, as I said. It's just honesty. I don't think that's too much to ask. Our nation is not so far gone that a just honest guy can't be president and do honest things that help the country. So it's not too late for Joe Biden. I would like to think that there's a shred of decency in him. But we can't count on that, certainly, ladies and gentlemen. In the meantime, I'm telling everybody to bulletproof themselves, and you've got to help us fight. You've got to be doing our daily actions. We're close, guys. We're close. So a little back and forth with Are Eugenio. Oh, I thought you might be Roberto Perez on Twitter, Eugenio. I was wondering about that. Are Eugenio also says, call your senators because special interest groups are calling them, putting pressure. Yeah, right, guys. We've got a lot of competition out there, guys. We do. There's not many of them, but they're very influential. They've got a lot of money, and they've got very good influence in the media. 80%, 90% of which is against us. We can overcome all that stuff. If even 10% of the people on our group were fighting, 10%, 1 out of 10. Be that special student loan justice warrior. Be that 1 out of 10 person. When you do, we will be solving a very large and terrible national problem. We need you. Can't forget that. You can't unhear that. We are the tip of the spear in many ways, guys. If there was another group fighting this fight that we're fighting, I would take this banner behind me and throw it in the trash and join that group. There is no other group. This is the group. So you're here and we're making history and we need you. And you cannot unhear that. And I think I'm going to leave tonight's live stream with the final quote from Terry Dodd. These loans will not cancel themselves. So do your part and spread the word. Thank you, Terry. And with that, I'm going to wish you good night. I will be back tomorrow. Ed will be back on Tuesday. Let's make this next week count. Let's make history this coming week. We'd like to do it because of you instead of despite you. Let's make it happen. I'll see you tomorrow. Good luck. Godspeed. And God bless everyone.